Hello everyone. My thesis is about how I learn and practice in the process of controlling the uncontrollable materials and use their unpredictable quality to create possibility. I use form studio methods to experiment in the process and use narrative strategies to guide me into my next steps. I create different images, drawings, and sculpture in the result of embracing the honest reflections on my life and challenging the perceptions of the viewers to a deep and open way. I started from the observations of the falling fruit in the park. I saw them got stepped by pedestrians and create these dirty stains on the ground. It is a little bit sad. It reminded me of this difficult moment in life. But I found it beautiful. The colors, the emotions, and the variety of the stain is amazing. Each of them was unique in their own ways. Different forces like gravity, height, the wind, or how people step on it made small detail impact. I start from using strawberry as a material. I use them to make mark on the paper. I step on them, I cut them, and sew them back together. I explore the idea of fragility, destructions, and reconstructions. I apply different forces to the material and see how it reacts naturally. In my process, one thing leads to another thing. The fragility of the strawberries leads me to use sugar gas that is hard but will break by strong force and melt in high temperatures. And then that leads me to want to try things that is even more fragile. I use bubbles because they pop so easily and they leave this amazing mark on the paper. By positioning them, it creates different meanings. I learn and practice in the process of controlling all the materials and use their natural quality to generate unexpected variations. I apply small forces to the material that affect the result and change the perceptions of the works. For example, I tilt the paper while pop the bubbles. I froze the ink and let them melt to create drawings. I use heat to increase the speed of the melting sugar. In my process, I play and observe the material and photograph them. I put myself in a constant making mode and analyze the work by using my lenses. I use my experiences, metaphor, narrative strategy to guide me into my next steps. I also write some text to complement with my images, mostly about memories, moments in life, and my inspirations. I put them together in a book format. And for today's presentations, I select some part of my works and some of my words. Fragile existence. He remembers the dark inside him. There was a dark hole with arms reached out and entangled everything. He remembers that opinionated woman with that smug smile. She won. She rubbed his head on the ground until his face soaked in his blood. He remembers they looked at him. He thought they would save him. They stood right there, looked at him. The indifferent look in their eyes. How wrong he was. He was leaving and no one could stop it. He abandoned all the toxicants, all the repetitive behaviors, no more justifications. He grew his hair to his shoulders and bathed himself in the hot water. The tips of the hair, behind his ear, in between fingers. The water flowed through his skin every pore, inside his body and deep in his throat. Wash away his blood along with his name and memories. He let himself melt and dissolve in water. He no longer exists. He danced with the wolves under the moonlight. They surrounded him, bit and tore his flesh away. Gently, brutally, he let them share and consume his body. They worshipped him, enjoyed him, and loved him. After the feast before they went, they cuddled right above his wound. He received and absorbed part of them in his body until they combined and became whole. Day after day, from empty to full, he provided his flesh in order to gain a tiny bit of confidence. Last summer, on the last day, I sat with others watched the burning candy wrapper drift through the room, like a mini firework, bright and colorful. A fleeting beauty vanished, only the ash remained. Every moment matters. A little wind moved through the tips of branches. A small, round, but beautiful fruit trembles. His fingers on the edge are slipping. Gravity is pulling him down. Another wind, the last wind that breaks the stem. It falls. He releases his fingers and opens his arms. Falling. He feels the speed of falling. It lands on the mundane locations where no one will take a second look. There are many others, before and after. He lies down under the sky, his skin ripped by the rough ground. The juice inside the fruit leaks through the wound. It tints the ground red. The numbness and tingling on his lungs. A shadow comes and covers his sight. A foot ruthlessly steps on it. The remaining liquid inside splashes. Not sure for how long, how many people pass by. He looks at himself. His internal organs splash all over the floor. The motion of the impact is clearly to see. His blood meanders out, the organic curves like a delicate work by the artist. His flesh scatters radially, like fireworks. Each explosions have their beauty. One day, he was drunk. He lay on the sofa, his body lost consciousness. He melted and slowly soaked into the fabric. As his head exploded, a flower grew from the crack of his head and rooted in his brain. A warm current sprang up through his throat. He was going to vomit, but splashed into a beautiful painting. All the movement, all the drops, myriads of streams flowed into rivers and seas, from all directions, echoing each other, slowly intersecting. Black and red. He could feel the pulse vibrate on the paper. They were alive. He saw him sit next to the candles. The vinyl played his music. The wavering light from the candle dancing in that wooden frame in the dark. There was light in his eyes. He finally had hope for the future. He held my hands firmly, tightly. His strength contained my softness. The warmth almost melted my hands. He raised his both hands up high in the air, as if slow motion, leading, almost forcing my hands go with him. He looked in my eyes proudly, confidently. He said, "You are good." This year, I learned that there is so much opportunity in the uncontrollable materials, and it becomes the medium for artists to reflect on their life. Thank you.